show. Come on, sit down, man. Sit down, everybody, come on. How are you? Thank you so much. We have an awesome audience of 40 of the best people in the world here. They gave me a standing ovation. They have no idea who I am. It's okay if you're up late watching TV. My name is Jeffrey Ross, and I'm here to teach you guys how to buy real estate with no money down. You ever watch those shows late at night? It was some fat guy in a Hawaiian shirt, right? There's your women with bikinis and yachts, you know, those success stories at the end, right? Just 6 months ago, everybody in my neighborhood thought I was retarded. Now I make over $90,000 a day. My teeth grew back. And my lovely wife, Nipples, is co-owner of a flourishing slug removal business. This is really cool for me. I've been back here a few times, guest hosting for on Later, and it's really cool. My first time out here, I got to interview Milton Berle, the living legend, Uncle Milty. It was really cool for me because, well, let's face it, he's like, he's one of my idols all time, you know. And afterwards, I said, Uncle Milty, you know, I'm a really big fan. He said, "You're a funny kid. How come I never heard of you?" I said, "'Cause you're 100, quite frankly." No offense, but I'm like, you know, Mr. Bro, you know everybody. Can't you help me out in my career at all? He goes, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to make a call for you. I'm going to call up the producers of the Dick Van Dyke Show. We're talking about a guy who's been doing comedy so long, he lost to Mark Twain on Star Search. So what can you really do, you know? And on top of that, I got to meet, I recently met the president. Anybody ever meet a president? It was the coolest thing that ever happened to me. My buddy works for the Democratic Party, right? So he invites me down to the White House. I don't know anybody, right? I'm a nervous wreck. And, you know, there's all these, I'm wearing a tuxedo, there's all these celebrities there and dignitaries. And I'm thinking at the end of this meal, I'm going to be face-to-face, man-to-man with the leader of the free world, you know? How do I use that moment? Do I champion a cause? Do I wish him luck? You know, and after dinner, I'm a nervous wreck, and there's this big receiving line, and it gets to me, right? I just shook his hand and said, "Everything was delicious." My big moment with the president. We have a great show, everybody. You ready to kick it off here? Yeah? You guys are awesome. My guest tonight is a producer and director whose movies have grossed over $3 billion. His creations include Ghostbusters, Stripes, Animal House, Twins, Space Jam, and Howard Stern's Private Parts. His new movie, Father's Day, opens May 9th. We got him, everybody. It's Ivan Reitman.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this.
Hey, this is fun. It's fun to be up at 1:30.
It is? Do you like being on TV and stuff? You know, you're a behind-the-scenes guy. It doesn't make you nervous?
I actually hate being in front of the camera. I'm always the guy in the back looking at a monitor, giggling away.
This is our show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night. I don't want to make you nervous. Do you like to be introduced as a producer or a director, mostly?
It's really the same job almost for me. One means more time than the other.
Right.
But creatively, it's the same responsibility.
Which one do you think has more cachet?
I think director. I think people associate, you know, the director with the sort of creative side of the film, and that's where I like to put most of my energy. So I think that's probably the area that has the most cachet.
Really? It's the sexier part of it. It's the more hands-on.
Not for me.
Really? I mean, you're so busy right now. I'm looking at you have 3 movies out at once. Space Jam, Private Parts, and Father's Day.
And soon Father's Day, that's correct.
Are you tired?
I'm extremely tired. My wife says, you know, I knew you were going to work hard this year, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad.
Your accountant's probably tired.
What happened was, these things sort of happen by accident. You never know when a film is actually going to become real. You know, I started working with Howard Stern 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, you know, when he came to Los Angeles, I started listening to him as a fan, and one day I called him up and I said, "You ought to be in pictures." And I went off to meet him, and you know, I started talking about what he could do as a film. This is before he wrote that book.
Before Private Parts.
This is before he was just, you know, a guy on the air.
Back in the Fart Man days?
This is pre-Fart Man. He called me about a year later, speaking of that title, and he said, "I have the perfect idea for you. What do you think, Fart Man the movie?" I said, "No, that's not what I had in mind." Because I had told him a year prior to that, that what I had wanted to do with him is something biographical, something where he plays himself.
Right.
You know, that, you know, just told his story in a kind of a naturalistic way. And he then wrote the book, and that's when we really started working on it. But that sort of started years ago. Space Jam started almost 3 or 4 years ago because Michael Jordan, I seem to be working with a lot of people who don't normally act.
What was it about, you know, these guys, Michael Jordan, Howard Stern, that made you think that these guys could be movie stars? Was there something in those commercials that Jordan did, or, you know, in Stern on the radio that said, wow, I bet this guy could play himself?
Well, with Stern, I guess I bought into the king of all media thing. So I thought, yeah, he could do it. I thought he was very funny. I think he is very funny. And
I worship him. I listen to his show every day.
I think that people, you know, a lot of people are offended by him, and, you know, there are things that he does that, you know, annoy me and I disagree with as well. But on a sort of consistent basis, 5 days a week, he manages to be funny every single day, and that's a really hard thing to do.
I had trouble doing it for 2.5 minutes.
See what I mean? So you pay attention to that when you find someone who has that kind of voice. And when I read his book, I thought, well, that's a really good story. That's an interesting story. And I had a sense, because he's basically acting on the radio every single day, that he could do it.
Right.
Michael Jordan that was more of a guess. And but we felt with Space Jam, he would only have to do it for short bits at a time. He was surrounded by animated characters, which in fact is a hard thing to do. But he wouldn't have to we weren't asking him to do sort of Hamlet or something like that.
Right.
We were just asking him to be act naturally to a humorous situation around him.
But that's a huge responsibility to have, you know, the Warner Brothers characters. That's a huge franchise. And Michael Jordan is a huge company in himself, you know?
Yeah,
is that a lot of weight on your shoulders to not to screw it up?
About a week before we started shooting, the chairman of the board of Warner Brothers came to me and said, hey, Ivan, I just want you to know that, you know, we're giving you the crown jewels here, and don't be nervous. We just expect you to deliver the goods.
Were any of the animated characters difficult to work with?
They were all difficult to work with in that, you know, their great voice, Mel Blanc,
right,
is no longer with us, and I think a lot of the success of those characters came from his acting ability and his ability to play these wonderful, funny guys in a different way. And, you know, the animated characters have been around for 60 years, so we had to find a new way to do Mel Blanc again in a sort of a fresh and contemporary way. And we were able to find some great voices, I think, that helped a great deal.
Plus the merchandise. I mean, maybe you can help me out. My little cousins love that Space Jam movie. Is there any way we could find somewhere out there a T-shirt or a collector's cup or something?
I think we can.
We've been having a hard time finding stuff. We'll be right back with more Ivan Reitman after this.
I'm so sorry. You know what we're gonna do? Just tell me that you're ready. You ready?
Yes.
Gumbo! How much would you pay for a 1/3 pound cheeseburger, crispy fries, and a fresh garden salad? $6.99? No, sir! $5.99. Get out! How about $4.99? But wait, that's not all. Order now, and we'll throw in a second Go-Go's combo absolutely free. Plus, these handsome toothpicks are yours to keep. We're standing by to take your order, so come on in.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Why?
It would be bad.
I'm fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing. What do you mean bad?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Total protonic reversal. Right, that's bad.
Ghostbusters. I love the movie. I hated that song. Who are you gonna call? It was like played out.
#1 song.
Do you direct the soundtracks as well?
I directed actually that video.
Really?
Yes.
I'm
it
sorry.
was. We only got the song in the sort of last. We were looking for a song for the length of finishing that film, and we were right in the final mix. This is where you put all the stuff together.
Right.
And Ray Parker Jr. finally came up with this song that was based on words that were actually in the commercial that the Ghostbusters did as part of the film. Who are you going to call the Ghostbusters? And And so right after finishing the final film, about a week before the release, I remember taking the three guys, actually the four guys, down to Times Square and sort of directing the end of that.
Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, Harold Ramis and
Moranis?
no, Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson.
Yes, down and sort of dancing down the street. And by the second take, we had like 50,000 people lining the two sides of Times Square.
Was that your biggest moneymaker
Yeah.
up to that date, Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I guess so.
What about private parts? I mean, I never saw a movie get this much hype. The premiere was on MTV. It was a rock concert, and they had, Howard hyped on the radio every day. Were you happy with what it made, $40 million, or do you think it could have done a little bit better?
I think it opened very well. I think his audience went out to see it. I think he had a hard time crossing over to the audience in general. They didn't believe the movie was as good as it actually turned out to be, and as the reviews said it was. I think there's a number of people, a large number of people in the country who will not see him do anything just on a sort of personal basis. I think in the long run it will do him a lot of good. I think when it comes out on video and plays the rest of the world, it will take the Howard Stern message to a broader audience.
Do you think a raunchier film might have done bigger numbers but might not have served Howard as well? Or?
I don't think so. I think it really, this film was raunchy enough and funny enough, and I think probably any decent film would have done this well.
Do you think, was it your idea? Howard works really well with women. His publisher was a woman, Judith Regan, his sidekick. Was it your idea to put Betty Thomas as director there?
Yeah, I had worked with Betty Thomas on The Late Shift. This was the...
That was great, too, yeah.
That was the film that was really the story of how Jay Leno won the Saturday night slot. Not the Saturday night slot, the
Tonight Show.
The Tonight Show slot after Johnny Carson. And we had worked on the script based on the book, and working with her was really a lot of fun. She was a great collaborator. And I thought, for private parts, she would be perfect. It was, again, a realistic milieu, humorous, which she is, and that she wouldn't mind having me involved.
Right. She was awesome. Did you have a lot of rewrites with that? Was it a torture getting Howard to approve a script? He must be really... I know he's a perfectionist. Most comics are. I mean... Yeah,
no, actually, he enjoyed the process. There was a lot of problems getting a script, apparently, prior to my involvement, but I think once I started working, he was quite happy. He loved, actually, the first draft we turned in after about 6 months, and then, we wrote another dozen after that.
Do you think you'll ever turn to dramas? You've done all these huge, huge comedies.
Well, I mean, Dave, which is a movie that I directed a few years ago.
Kevin Kline
was a fairly serious film in terms of what it spoke about. I even like to think that Ghostbusters has got a fairly serious message. Father's Day, although is an outright comedy, has got a sort of a fairly serious story underlying it.
What's serious about Ghostbusters?
Hey, bad things are happening.
You're living in denial, Mr. Reitman.
Okay. I love to do humorous things. Okay, I admit it.
I think they're all great, but I mean, it's just that, comedies never get the attention from like the Academy Awards and all that stuff.
Yeah, it pisses me off.
It should. It really should.
I really think they should have a double category.
I think we should protest.
Don't you think there should be two categories? Let's go.
I went to the Academy Awards, the Police Academy Awards. It's a whole different thing. That Goldthwait's a pisser, man. He really is. Is it easier to direct comedy? Not easier, but it seems like I was a film major in college, and they always taught us that comedy was best directed simple. Don't move around too much. Keep the camera kind of still.
It depends on, really you don't want to get in the way of good comedy. Comedy is all about the timing, as you've heard, and it's all about thousands of little moments put together that sort of make us move in a sort of special way, which is to laugh.
Right.
And that's what makes it so hard, because you still have the same responsibilities you have in a drama. That is, you have to tell the story, the characters have to be convincing, you have to be emotionally involved. And then once you've solved that, as both a writer and a director, then you have to worry about how to actually make people laugh on top of that.
Do you think you could take all this one step further and do those huge $175 million Titanic-type movies? You think you have that in you?
Well, Space Jam was almost like that. I mean, it wasn't, it was a very expensive film. We had animators all over the world. It wasn't as tough a movie in production, but it was in post-production, which went on for more than a year. The two Ghostbuster movies were...
Those were pretty huge.
Were pretty elaborate, and, we had a couple hundred effect shots in each one of those films, and literally thousands of people lining the streets as we did things. And
You're not going to do a third one, are you? I know Aykroyd wants to do one with Chris Farley, right? You don't want any part of it? Or?
Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and I have spoken about it. I don't think I'll direct another one because it's directing really takes a long time, and you only have so many movies in you as a director.
Right.
And having done 2 of them, I found even doing the second one pretty tough.
Right.
And I will probably sort of produce or executive produce if they can sort of come up with a good screenplay, which they're starting to work on now.
Great. We have to take another break. We'll be right back after those massages. After these messages. Ivan Reitman.
You're gonna finish basic training.
Oh, yeah?
You're gonna keep your mouth shut.
Oh, yeah?
You're gonna do everything he tells you.
Oh, yeah?
And you know why?
Why?
Because you talked me into this. That's why, you idiot. It was your idea.
I didn't talk you into this. You needed this.
I'm gonna kill you, damn you!
Oh, he's handsome.
Thank you.
What is this, a joke?
Hello?
Who is the father?
The truth is, I don't know. Please just find him.
Scott! Scott! His name is Scott! That's him! That's Scott! At least we know he ate.
You're watching Later. My name's Jeffrey Ross. My guest is Ivan Reitman. Father's Day opens May 9th. It looks hilarious, man.
It was really a lot of fun to work with these 2 extraordinarily gifted comedians.
Billy Crystal and Robin, how do you keep them together on the set? They're like wackos, you know?
Keeping them together is not the problem. It's keeping the storyline on track was the hardest job.
Are they improvising like crazy?
Well, look, first of all, they're really seasoned professionals. You know, this is the first time that Robin Williams and Billy Crystal ever made a movie together.
Wow.
You know, they do that show on HBO.
Comic Relief.
Comic Relief
right.
once a year. But they've never actually acted together. And
did you cast them together and then get the story, or did you know
they
you
had been looking for a movie to do for a long time. They're very good friends, and they have this wonderful chemistry together. And I think, they fit each other's rhythms comedically very well. It's very hard to find the right comedy teams in terms of where they're not fighting each other, but work like great jazz musicians, where they listen to each other and fill in with each other. And I think these 2 guys are that. And there was a French movie, Les Compères, that was made about 12 years ago.
And this is a remake, right?
And I happened to see it in France. I speak a little French, and I saw the film with my French-Canadian wife, and I thought, this would make a great film someday. And in fact, even looked into it to do it with Bill Murray and somebody else. And it never sort of came about. And one day, I was at a dinner party where Billy Crystal was, and it was the first time I'd ever met Billy. And Billy said, I'm thinking of doing this movie with Robin. It's called Les Compères, but we don't really have a script, but it's something I've always wanted to develop. I said, I've seen that movie, and I know just what to do with it.
That's awesome.
And really started working on it about a month later, and we were in production 4 months later.
Did you draw from your own experiences? I bet you're a great dad. You know everybody. It's like, happy birthday, son, I got you the Terminator. Not the doll, the guy. Arnold, come on in here.
I do have 3 children. And this year I've hardly seen them because of the work I've done on all these movies, and I feel extremely guilty about it. So if you're looking, kids, I'm sorry. But I'd like to think of myself as a decent dad. And this movie is about the difficulty about being a father, even if you're not really the father.
Right.
And this is all about the 3 fathers that might be involved.
I have a great idea for a movie. You want to hear it?
Yes.
It's about this young comedian who guest hosts a talk show. And he has like a big producer-director guy on, like basically a genius, right? And the producer kind of takes a liking for the comedian.
Loves him.
Right? Meatballs 2.
1 meatballs in 1 life is enough.
Do you regret that your kids aren't being raised in Canada?
It's really hard raising kids in Los Angeles, particularly, being in the film business. But I think it's tough, raising kids at all. And I think that's really what Father's Day is about, which is, it's tough to do that. And we try to find some sort of humorous way to tell that kind of story.
Right.
I miss Canada. I go back there a couple of times a year. I've really not made a film in Canada since Meatballs.
Well, it seems